Hey, Jesse in Oregon, Matthew here with freeprescriptionlenses.com, and with the help of my GoPro camera, I'm going to show you how I cut transitional photochromic lenses for your brand new RayBan 2132 color 901L, which is the classic shiny black in the 55 eye size. So let's go ahead and begin. I got a lot of ground to cover in 20 minutes. Some of the RayBan packaging you get: your Italian leather RayBan case, your RayBan frame, your RayBan cleaning cloth, and junk mail. I'm going to turn that around so the cloth faces you when you receive that. And this is the frame as RayBan sends them to me, with a little plastic sleeve on the left temple to avoid scratches during shipping. If they think it's a good idea to put one on there, well, by golly, I'm going to put a second one on there when I ship it to you, so you'll be twice protected. But let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to take both those off, set them down there. I'm going to pop out your original heavy glass breakable G15 lenses. And I'm going to put your Italian RayBan new Wayfarer into my Italian Santinelli LE1000 patternless edger. The stylus is coming up and tracing the shape of your right lens, and it's going to move over and trace the shape of your left. Here at freeprescriptionlenses.com, where everyone loves a bargain and no one is disappointed with quality. You buy the frame, you get free clear prescription or non-prescription lenses. In this case, you took non-prescription fashion and you just paid the upgrade to the transitional photochromic lenses. So, let's pull up the shape on the computer. If this were prescription glasses, I would put your pupillary distance, the PD measurement, but since these are not, I'm just going to have it match the frame. This is a polycarbonate lens being cut on the soft cycle, and this is cut for a Xyle frame, which is an old school name for plastic. So these are your polycarbonate lenses. I'm going to take them out of the original packaging. Go ahead and toss everything so I have a clean space to work in. Now, this is the size of your lens before I cut it down. I need to put this block on there to hold it in place while it's cutting inside the lathe. So I've got a little 3M sticky pad, and I'm going to stick, the black side is the sticky side. I'm going to stick that on the block, peel that away, and then stick that down onto the lens. Let's do the same thing for your other lens. I would say your left lens, but this could be, let's go ahead and make this one the right. Okay, so I'm going to put it into the chuck, or as I like to say, the Charles, because I don't know it well enough to call it chuck. But the first thing that's going to happen is the stylus, this caliper is going to come down and trace the shape of your right lens, starting on the concave side of the lens first, which is closest to your eyelashes. Then it's going to move over and trace the convex side of the lens, which is away from the face. Let me clean that dust up. You know, if I knew I was going to have company over in the living room, I could have cleaned up better. But the actual cutting wheel is down here on the bottom left. It's that lighter color wheel. It's like a heavy grit sandpaper that's going to grind away the material. This wheel in the center with that little valley, that channel, that's what's going to put the bevel onto the frame, so it stays inside the bevel of the lens, so it stays inside the bevel of the frame. This will get loud and I'll have to close the door in a moment, but for now I just want you to see as your lenses touch down on the cutting wheel. Now, your lenses are made out of the polycarbonate material. Polycarb, there's three main lens choices. There's glass, plastic, and polycarb. Glass has gone by the way of the dinosaur because when you drop it, it breaks. Plus, it's so heavy. The second most common is plastic. That's the least expensive. That's what a lot of the industry uses. You're actually getting a polycarbonate lens. Polycarb is 40% thinner and lighter than regular plastic. It is virtually unbreakable. It is bulletproof up to 22 caliber. That's why they use it for safety glasses. Yes, your lenses are bulletproof. They also have UVA and UVB protection. We know what the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays can do to your skin from overexposure. Well, your eyes are 8 times more sensitive than your skin. So you now have permanent sunscreen for your eyes. So this is the outer corner by the temple. This is at the nose. Camera 1, camera 2. Camera 1, camera 2. Of course, if you notice, your lens is still completely flat around the edges. If I were to take it out now, it would stand up on its own like a nickel. So now it's moving over and it's putting the bevel onto the lens. It's a knife-like edge. A very dull knife like me. But it's still sharp enough that it'll cut a wet tissue if you push really hard on it. If you notice, there's water running in the background. Polycarbonate lenses cut dry. plastic and high index lenses cut wet, where the water jets, which you will soon see, there actually will be water being sprayed on these lenses in just a moment. Plastic and high index cut with water running the whole time. There you go, there's my water jets. It's just washing away any optical debris. I don't know if you can see it. Is it going to stay on? Is it going to stay on? The stuff like that, that's what it's washing off. This is optical sawdust coming off of your lens. Of course, as clean as it's making it, I'm just going to make it much messier as soon as it comes out. Because I'm going to put way more than that on there. Here's the final step before trying to mount it. And by the way, have full confidence in me when I say when I take this lens out, I doubt it's going to fit. I always start large and work my way down. You can always cut more off of a lens. You can never add it back on. So I start large and keep making it smaller. So I do want to dry your lens off so it's not slippery, and I drop it on live TV, but you have a little bit of rough edges. This is where I'm going to make most. I'm going to use my hand stone, which is completely flat. I can put my finger on it while it's running, and when my finger does get warm because of the friction, but it's that friction that enables me to put on what's known as the safety bevel. This white powdery substance that you see me scraping off, that is called Schwarf. All Mel Brooks friends can now say, may the Schwarf be with you. But once it's scraped off of your lens, I collect it on the counter here, and once I have it all in one pile, I wipe it on the floor. And this is where I say, kids, stay in school. I went to school for years to learn how to make a mess like this. Stay in school and learn to make a mess like me. Sorry, even the clown gets to laugh. Okay, so let's see if it fits. I'm going to tuck it in at the outside corner, and using my thumbs press down at the nose. It does not, so I'm going to take it down just a little bit more. I'm going to take it down 1/10 of a millimeter. And I'm going to hit retouch. It will not go onto the cutting wheel there. It's just going to go straight to the bevel wheel. Now, if I was old school, I could use my hand stone and make it smaller. But, you know, I have a $30,000 piece of equipment on the table here, so I think I'll let it do the work. And by the way, I recommend everyone go out in one of these. Put it on your kitchen counter, and you can learn to cut lenses at home. Now, a millimeter is the distance between my thumbnails. I'm going to take 1/10 of that off around the circumference of your lens so it fits smaller. Now, I am wearing the same frame in the smaller size, the 52i size, in the color 6012. This is the tortoise beige because I'm wearing brown and tan and brown socks, so shirt and shoes, I should say, so I'm matching there. Every day I pop my lens out and I put it into a different color depending on what I'm wearing. I could pop it into these white ones here. And I'm going to mount it, your lens, the same way. And don't worry, these are unbreakable lenses. As I mentioned, bulletproof up to 22 caliber and have both UVA and UVB protection. I know I'm just repeating myself, but I can't say this enough. Your lenses are unbreakable. So when life happens, and it's not you, it's someone standing next to you doing something careless and stupid, that's what's going to do it. But actually, I was mowing one day with my push mower. I hit a rock. It flew out, hit my propane tank, made a big doing sound. Of course, it caught my attention. And I could see the rock flying at me, but it was happening so fast, I just couldn't duck. And it hit me right in my lens. And I had a few choice words, but then I realized, speaking of right lenses, boy, I sure am glad I was wearing this. Or I would have lost an eye. So real quick, back to the safety bevel, back to scraping off the Schwarf, back to wiping that on the floor, back to me saying, kids, stay in school. Okay. Now let's see if it fits. I'm going to tuck it in at the outside corner closest to me with the frame turned upright. Using my thumbs, I press down. It pops in to test to make sure it's not too large. I grab the frame. I'm right-handed, so I grab the frame with my left hand. Then using my knuckles, I pull back a little bit while placing my thumb at the nose. It's always with your thumb at the nose. To get them out, I put my other thumb on top, and then I push. Out it comes. So that is that. Again, to tuck it into the outside corner. And then using my thumbs at the nose, because again, it's always with the thumbs at the nose, I snap it in. So let's go ahead and cut your left lens. I'm going to turn that in and hit start. And just like the previous time, the calipers are going to come down, but this time they're going to trace the shape of the left lens to make sure this lens is large enough to cut out, which it is. When you get into prescriptions and having to move and decenter lenses vertically and horizontally, you have some issues. It never is here. But as soon as this starts cutting, I'm going to keep working on your right lens. And emails, people like watching this go round and round and round. Just like the Geico commercial, boots and pants and 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 boots and pants. It is catchy, man. You got that song stuck in your head. I'm gonna have to change songs, get a new song. How about everybody was kung fu fighting? Those cats were fast as lightning. Alright, I won't sing that one either. Well, it's a good thing I got a day job cutting lenses. If I had to sing and dance for a living, I'd be starving. So, this block is no longer needed. I'm going to take this off. Throw that block back in the pile. Pull this sticker off. I'm going to dry your lens off. And by the way, you are getting your RayBan cleaning cloth in the case, but I'm also going to throw in one of mine. I also include instructions on how to care for your leather RayBan case and both cleaning cloths so they will last you for years. I just want to hold that up to the light and check for blemishes, of which there are none. And I will do that on the left lens in just a moment. In just a moment, you'll see your lens as it starts to take shape. There we go. It's not just round anymore. Whoa. So Jesse in Oregon, I bet every time you buy a pair of RayBan, someone makes a video for you showing you how to cut the lenses. So this must be pretty boring for you. Living in Oregon, you got some nice things to pass your time with. Where me in North Carolina, it ain't so. So I'm gonna save my money up and move out there. How's that? By the way, it is 5:06 on Saturday, May 10th, 84 degrees in my hometown of Durham, North Carolina, at least according to my Samsung 2 watch. And in just a moment, the water jets will kick back in and start cleaning your left lens on command. You know, I do this way too much if I can predict when that water is going to kick in. Okay. Let's pull this out. Back to the handstone, back to the safety bevel. This time I'm going to eliminate the counter. I'm just going to wipe it straight onto the floor, if that's okay with you, Jesse. Alright. I do this so much I've worn a V-shaped bevel into my thumb now. So let's make sure that this fits well now. Again, I'm going to tuck it in at the outside corner, then use my thumbs, press down, piece of cake. In order to test it, I turn it over, I flip it upside down, grabbing the far end of the frame using my thumb, and I torque back on the frame. Out comes your lens. I always make sure they're not in here too large, because if it ever is too large, it can stretch the frame or cause the frame itself to roll, which is a term you'll never probably say in your life, but I'm just going to make sure it prevents it doesn't happen. I'm going to dry your lens off and inspect to make sure there are no blemishes. Of course not, because the kid made them. And then one thing I'm going to do before shipping them to you, although 99% of all optical shops will do free adjustments if you ask them, but I'm just going to make sure it's at standard alignment on the counter. It's in a 3-point stance. Those 3 points are 1, 2, and the bottom of the frame being 3. I press down, there is no wobble. I flip them over, press down, there is no wobble. On mine, because I have one ear that's higher than the other, when I put mine on the counter, mine definitely wobble. And you may have to get yours adjusted so they sit level. But the other thing I do is close each temple to make sure they overlap perfectly, and they do, the same amount of tension on both sides. And now I actually want to go ahead and turn your clear lenses and into dark lenses. So I'm going to take your frame and put it into my, it weighs so much less now that you get these heavy glass lenses out. You're going to be shocked at how comfortable this frame is. That's why I wear it. But I'm going to turn on my strong ultraviolet light to darken your lenses. Now, all transitional lenses will turn dark in about 30 to 45 seconds. It takes them a little bit longer to lighten when you come back inside, about 45 seconds to a minute 15. They will get dark on day one, as you see, but this is important. Listen, they're going to keep getting darker every day for the first couple weeks, providing they're exposed to the sun, that is, until they reach their final color. Now, they'll work for years with maximum performance after the first couple weeks. The only time that will not work is when you're in your car driving, because your sun blocks the harmful UV rays that come in your car, so your upholstery doesn't rot and your dashboard doesn't crack. That's why they won't turn dark in a car, but they will turn dark as soon as you step out of the car. You have to be exposed to direct sunlight. They do work best, or not at their best, when it gets into the 90s, especially upper 90s towards 100. Your lenses are miserable, you're miserable. No one wants to work hard when it's that hot, so they do get darker when it's a little bit cooler. But that's it. That's your look for now. Don't worry, they are going to keep getting darker and darker the first couple weeks. And that's that. If anyone out there has any questions, just email me at freeprescriptionlenses@gmail.com. And Jesse out in Oregon, I hope you enjoyed watching your glasses being made, and everyone else got a chance to see how I bring that love and feeling back to glasses. Thank you.